All right. So, I was just listening to some videos by the daughter of Chris Bledsoe about his interaction with this being. It was this blonde hair, blue eyed Aryan woman. And she was, I don't know if she was floating or not, but she was in front of him. And she was saying she was some sort of Egyptian goddess, and or that she's been associated with that goddess. And she is the divine feminine, and she says, "Hey, you got to go out and spread the word now that I've told you." And then obviously with Chris Bledsoe, the government, even the Vatican, got involved with him. Someone even told him, like, "Hey, if this happened 5 years ago, we would we would have offed you." But they didn't say it like that. But that's basically, it's almost verbatim actually what they said. But yeah, so I was thinking of that story. I was thinking of the story of Joseph Smith, how he went to pray in the woods and was like, please let me know which of these denominations are right, because I can't choose between one. And then your boys, the big J, Jesus and God, show up, and they say, "Hey, here's what's happening." And then obviously Moroni eventually starts appearing to him. And then you have all these alien encounters, like during the Cold War, there were a lot of Elamaus that would appear to people, and then they would be like, "Hey, the nuclear stuff, you gotta stop. You gotta stop. It's not working out." And then, of course, there's also the Rendlesham case. Now, I know there's no entity involved, but there was the download of the zeros and ones, which could be interpreted as getting this information out, right? But that could have been a fluke. That could have been an accidental one. But I did want to mention that one. Obviously, there's the Urantia book where there was the channeling through the sleeping subject, these entities going through him, which, I mean, as far as we know, he never consented to that. But Sadler was very happy to write everything down. The Owaspi Bible with the what was it? The channeling, or it, not even channeling, it like possessed him basically, and made him write that book. There's like 4 or 5 different stories that guy gave, or accounts I should say, for how that book was made. But yeah, the point is, there's always these entities, right? These entities that come down. Hey, you gotta listen to us. I'm this holy being. You gotta do exactly what I say. You gotta do this. You gotta do this. And there's gonna be Age of Aquarius, or there's gonna be sunshine and rainbows once you get the message out. And again, Chris Bledsoe, and at least his daughter in the videos, firm believer, completely, and I believe the story. I believe something happened to these people, right? And she's very passionate about this topic now, and it's like, and as I would say, trust towards this entity. And to that, I say, where's the proof? Where's the evidence? Who are you? Not her. The entity. Who's the entity? Who is this? Some Aryan lady that comes down with UFOs and... who are you? Oh, I'm the divine feminine. Who is that? What? I'm the angel Moroni. What? Oh, and by the way, these tablets, can't show them to anyone, except, eventually we'll let you show a couple others, but you can't really show anyone that. Why not? That would literally prove your point. Like, why not tell everyone about this? The divine feminine lady, why not talk to everyone about, like, you know what I mean? Why are they so cryptic? And that seems to be the nature of these beings. Their nature is to be cryptic. And I don't like it. I don't appreciate it. We don't have to listen to these things. That's the mistake a lot of people make. They believe that they have to listen to these entities. And I'm here to tell you, no, you don't have to do that. Now, granted, I have a lot of respect for everything I've talked about, Owaspi, Urantia, Mormonism. I've actually just came back from Nauvoo yesterday. I drove there 4 hours, drove back 4 hours. So it was like 8 hours of driving. Was there for a good chunk of time, and met a lot of really nice people. Of course, a lot was closed. The Flood Museum was closed, of course. But the point is, I have a lot of respect for these people that have encountered these entities, these people in these religions. I have a lot of respect for them. But at the end of the day, like these entities, these ascended masters, there was a guy I met. Oh my gosh, he went to the same high school I did. I don't remember his name, but he wrote a book called Angels, Angels, Angels. Literally, that's the title. And he talked about ascended masters and angels and how they're communicating with him. And, again, it's like we put so much trust in these external entities, these angels, these, I would even go as far as say demons. We put trust in the way they operate. These demons operate on negativity, and there's a whole video on YouTube about the psychology of demons. I recommend it. I'm sure there's actually a bunch of videos about that. But the thing is, we put so much trust in these things. It's like, why should we? In America, we already live in a very low trust society. It used to be high trust, and listen, we can get into that. That's a whole rabbit hole as to why we became a lower trust society. But I'll say this, different cultures, right? Different cultures with different beliefs. And I look at these entities as the same thing. There's the, what's his name? Bob Lazar. He talks about seeing the documentation on religion. And unfortunately, he only really skimmed through it. But he said that humans were described as containers. Containers of what? Now, he didn't know. He said, maybe a soul, maybe. But he didn't know. The answer is he didn't know. But it was, humans are containers for these entities. What does that mean? You have, and I met this guy recently, Eric Nansteele. I've been reading his book. And he talks about how the Greys are blood drinkers. They're basically space vampires that are drinking, is it Rh negative blood, I think is what they prefer. I'm pretty sure. And, what's that about? Now, does that make these things evil, or is that just their nature? Like it's just it's what they gotta do, and it's a matter of how they get it, right? I don't know, but the point is, I'm very skeptical when it comes to trusting these entities, and I've known people who have a no entity policy, and I respect that, because how can you respect these things? We don't know the first thing about these things. We don't know why they operate the way they operate. And it's like, I want to put my trust in them. I want to put my trust in an angel, not a demon, right? But I want to put my trust in some of these things. They're interesting to me. But how can you trust them? They're not giving you any evidence. And again, in Joseph Smith's case, it's the greatest piece of evidence he has. He's told he's not allowed to share it, and it's like, why do they operate that way? I don't like their nature in that sense of divine feminine. Again, why not just come out to the world and talk about it? It's frustrating. I know there was Manuel Swedenborg. Got to give my boy a shout out, who was seeing all these angels and demons and having these basically near-death experiences, talking about his visions of heaven and hell. And again, it's like, well, why not? Like, why is it got to be transferred to humanity, assuming all of Swedenborg's work is correct, right? Why transfer it through the one man? The Tesla of his time. The extremely, he's one of the smartest people in history. I guarantee that. He's one of the last people to have mastered so many of the sciences of the time. But it's hard to say. Basically, these entities are trying to use you to spread some sort of message. And the thing is, we have the divine spark, right? We're the special beings. We have the thought adjuster. We have, whatever it is that makes us special. Yeah, so, these entities, they come here. They tell us to do certain things for them. And then, it's like, well, wait a minute. I have the divine spark. I have, all of these special spiritual attributes to me, right? My chakras and everything. Why am I going to listen to you? If anything, you should listen to us, right? It's the same, we're on the same level here at the very least, right? So, a lot of people, I talked to one of my buddies where he was like, man, like, basically, I wish I would be abducted by aliens. I wish I'd be able to contact an ascended master or something like that. And it's like, no, that doesn't mean you're not special. Doesn't mean you're not special. Like, what is that? Like, these beings are way above you? No, you got to reframe it. You're above them. You're above them, In fact, wasn't that the I could be completely wrong here. Wasn't that the Bible, right? With the devil, they were jealous. The angels were jealous of mankind. Something akin to this. People got to realize how special they are. Oh man, I live a mundane blue collar life. That means I'm worthless. It's like, no, man, you have value. You have intrinsic value, and you got to respect yourself. And there's just so many people that just let their lives wither away, and they don't see any spiritual side of themselves. They don't see any value to themselves. And again, they put people that see these things, like whether it be Bigfoot, aliens, angels, in some cases even demons. I hate to say it, and they'll be jealous because they haven't seen them. And it's like, well, it's not about that. It's like these things aren't better than you. I'm happy to be human. I love it. There are negatives, sure. There's a lot of negatives in the world, but come on, give yourself some credit. Just because the angel Moroni or the divine feminine or any one of these beings didn't visit you, doesn't mean you're not special. That's you looking down on yourself, and that's just not what we should be doing. So this is just a quick little video I wanted to post. Just talking about these things. Again, there's so much more I could talk about and we'll be talking about. I do want to talk a little more about Nauvoo. I actually want to go back out there, film a lot more, and maybe even interview some people. And I want to go over obviously Eric Mensteel's book, and then also the Owaspie Bible, and this one's gonna be a big one, the Urantia book, because I've actually been going to the Urantia Foundation in Chicago, and then on Diversey, and very nice people, very kind people there. But I feel a bit, for lack of a better term, privileged that I live only 30-40 minutes away from it. So I try to make an effort to go out there every week. It's very rough with my job. We'll see how that goes in the future. I know I'm switching jobs. I don't want to get too personal here. My point of the video was just that when you listen to these entities, I think you should listen to them. You should hear them out. But if anything, if they're like, hey, you got to do this for me, you got to do this for me, no, screw you, man. I don't got to do jack shit for you. Like, honestly, I don't have to do anything for you. It's I mean, if anything, again, assuming, we're Divine Spark, or, they should be doing something for us, like, what are they bringing to our lives? How are they enriching our lives? And that's how we should be looking at it. But of course, I'm open to other different interpretations of just these beings. And I'm only using these two, the Chris Bledsoe vision and, or encounter, and Joseph Smith's vision. I'm only using those as examples. And, this is a huge, complex topic. And I'm only putting out a couple examples there. There's a lot more we could talk about and we'll be talking about. But anyway, just a quick little video.